thermal power plants, they operate with some working fluids. Air is used as working fluid for most of the gas turbines, diesel engines and petrol engines, whereas steam is the most important working substance, as it is used in most of the coal, gas and nuclear power plants. Also in process industry, textile industry, food industry and chemical industry, steam is invariably used as working substance. Then comes the point, what is steam? Water can exist in three phases: solid as ice, liquid as water and gaseous as steam. Here conversion from liquid to gaseous phase is considered, as shown in the diagram here. A to B is sensible heating of water. At point A, it is on temperature and heat axis. A represents the condition of working fluid in liquid state, that is water, and when heat is supplied to water, the temperature increases from A to B, and this is known as sensible heating of water. At point B, that is the saturation temperature or the boiling point of water, this water starts converting into steam, and from B to C, when the water is heated, from B to C latent heat is added and it is converted into steam, and the condition of steam from B to C is wet steam. At point C, water whole of the water is converted into steam, and at point C it is dry and saturated steam, and if heat is added beyond C, then the temperature starts increasing and C to D steam becomes superheated. The temperature of steam during process B C remains constant, and this is the boiling process. A to B the temperature increases, C to D again temperature increases at as it has been shown on temperature heat diagram. A to B heating, sensible heating, B to C boiling, latent heat addition, and C to D it is superheating of the steam. This steam has got certain properties, and these properties have been defined as dryness fraction. Dryness fraction is during the wet phase, and in the wet phase, that is from B to C, steam exists in partly in gaseous state and partly in water particles, and this dryness fraction x is defined as mass of the dry steam divided by the mass of the dry steam plus water particles during this state B to C. Say at this particular point, this water this steam consists of partly dry steam and partly water particles, and dryness fraction at that particular point would be mg upon mg plus mf, where mg is mass of the dry steam and mf is the mass of the water particles associated with mg grams of dry steam. The next property for steam is specific volume. For wet steam, the volume would be x into Vs, x is the dryness fraction and Vg is the volume of the steam plus 1 minus x Vf. This is the volume of the steam, and this is volume of the water particles associated with steam in the wet stage, and sum of the two is the total volume of the wet steam. Vf being negligible, we can write this as approximately equal to x into Vg, because 1 minus x into Vf would be negligible, and in the superheated state the volume would be given by Vg into temperature superheated divided by temperature saturated steam. The internal energy of the steam is given by the enthalpy minus pressure of the steam multiplied by its volume. For wet steam, the internal energy would be Hf minus P into Vf. For wet steam, the internal energy would be given by Hf plus x Hfg. Hfg is the latent heat of steam minus P into x into Vg, that is x into Vg is the volume of the steam multiplied by its pressure that is to be subtracted from the enthalpy of wet steam, that gives us the internal energy. For dry and saturated steam, internal energy is given by U g, that is equal to H g minus P into V g, and in the superheated state the internal energy is given by enthalpy of superheated steam minus P into volume of the superheated steam. The enthalpy of steam during different phases would be given by here the enthalpy would be from A to B, some heat is added, from B to C again some heat is added, C to D again superheating has been done, and that we can calculate. So, sensible heating from A to B would be equal to C p, this is in the liquid state, C p into change in temperature of the water, that is the enthalpy added to the water in the liquid region. Latent heat of steam that is supplied from B to C is equal to H f g, and superheat of steam beyond C up to D would be given by the superheat is C p into, that is the specific heat of steam at constant pressure multiplied by difference in temperature T superheated minus T saturated. So, this is the amount of heat added to water up to the point D, and the total enthalpy can be calculated by adding up the properties. For the wet steam it would be H f plus x into H f g, as it is wet, the dryness fraction being x, the total enthalpy of wet steam would be H f plus x H f g. For saturated steam the dryness fraction becomes 1, and therefore, H g would be equal to H f plus H f plus H f g, and for superheated steam the enthalpy would be H f plus H f g plus C p into T superheated minus T s as calculated here. So, this is how the enthalpy of steam can be calculated using that diagram. Then entropy is the another property which is very important, and entropy of steam for water would be equal to C p f, the specific heat of water in the liquid state multiplied by T s divided by 273, S f g, that is the latent entropy would be given by H f g divided by T s, because temperature remains constant in this region, and the total entropy of wet steam would be S f plus x into S f g, and for saturated steam the entropy would be S f plus S f g, and for superheated steam the entropy would be given by S f plus S f g plus C p ln T superheated by T saturated. All these properties that we have seen right now, they can be computed using the various properties pressure, volume and temperature. However, to avoid that calculation, these properties have been tabulated in steam tables. Properties of steam such as pressure, temperature, specific volume, internal energy, enthalpy and entropy have been tabulated in a form that is called steam tables and are shown subsequently. These tables are available for saturated and superheated steam separately. The tables have been shown here. The first table, table 4, shows the properties of saturated water and steam for a given temperature. The column 1 gives temperature of saturated steam, and for this saturated temperature the saturation pressure would be given here. Say steam exists at a saturation temperature of 225 degrees centigrade, then its pressure will be 2.5494 MP megapascals, and the volume in the liquid state, if it exists at this particular temperature 225 degrees centigrade, the liquid volume would be this specific volume, and specific volume of saturated gas would be given at this particular point. The enthalpy of water at this temperature would be given in this column, and enthalpy of steam would be given in this table, and latent heat at this given temperature would be Hg minus Hf. Hg is given in this column, Hf is given in this column. Difference of the two will be the enthalpy of steam at this temperature and this pressure, and the entropy for liquid and saturated vapor are given in the next columns, and the latent entropy can be calculated by subtracting Sg from Sf. So, this table, this is a rigorous table starting from very low temperatures, say 0 degree centigrade up to the critical temperature of the steam. This is just a sample table given here, and for all pressures at different slight variations of temperatures, this table is available in the books, and we can use this table for computation of properties of steam. A similar table based on pressures, this table was based on temperatures, and this table is based on pressures, say 1.5 megapascals. The saturation temperature would be given here, the volumes liquid and vapor phase, enthalpy liquid and saturated vapor, entropy liquid and saturated vapor are given in the subsequent columns as in the previous table. And this, if we want to calculate on the basis of temperatures, we will use this table 4. If we want to calculate the properties on for a given pressure, we have to use table 5, and various properties can be computed. For superheated region, the table 6 gives the properties of superheated steam, and in this again the table gives a large number of is available for a large number of pressures. The first column gives the pressure of superheated steam, and under this pressure there is in the bracket the saturation temperature is given. Say for 2.2 megapascals, the saturation temperature is 217.26 degrees centigrade, and for different temperatures of superheat 225, 250, 300 and so on up to 800 degrees centigrade, the volume, enthalpy and entropy are given in the subsequent columns. Say at 2.2 megapascals at 400 degrees centigrade, we want to find out the properties, then volume would be 0.1375, the enthalpy would be 3244.9 kilojoules, and entropy would be 7.0813 as given in this particular column. And for different temperatures, the values can be read, and for different pressures again 2.2, 2.4, and similarly right from very low pressures to the maximum pressures, the table is available which gives the properties of steam under different conditions. These properties which have been tabulated are available in the form of charts also, and these properties are plotted on temperature entropy diagram and temperature the enthalpy entropy diagram. The temperature entropy diagram for steam has been shown here. This is the temperature axis, and the x axis is entropy axis, and on this axis this curve shows the liquid region as followed by this arrow, and from this point this is the point of inflection, the critical point of steam, and beyond this when the steam is the water from liquid state is converted into gaseous state, the saturated vapor condition is follows this particular line. Okay. On this TS diagram, this region shows the liquid region, this region between this liquid line and saturated line shows the wet region, and beyond saturation curve the steam is in the superheated region. All this area is superheated steam, this area is saturated steam, and this area is saturated this is liquid water. On this TS diagram, the dryness fraction lines have been plotted here as dotted, shown here, and these lines they show the different dryness fractions. Say this is dryness fraction 1 saturated, this would be 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, 0.6 and so on up to 0.1 and then 0, that means saturated water. The BB represents saturated liquid line. A they show constant pressure lines on this diagram. This is a constant pressure line, this is also a different constant pressure line, and this A is another constant pressure line. DD are the dryness fraction lines, EE these are the constant volume lines shown here on the diagram, and this point is the critical point. Another chart which is very useful for analyzing the properties related to steam is the enthalpy entropy diagram, which is also known as Mollier diagram. Here this AA is the saturation line as shown here, A to A is saturation line, and on this saturation line these are the constant pressure lines. BB they give us the constant pressure lines for this steam. CC are the constant temperature lines, and these constant temperature lines are plotted in the superheated region only, and in the wet region, this is the wet region below the saturation curve, the constant pressure and constant temperature lines they coincide with each other, and B to C the line represents constant pressure as well as constant temperature. From B to C the pressure is same as this line, and B to C temperature is same as this temperature, and same is the case with all other lines. This DD they are the constant dryness fraction lines plotted on the Mollier chart. So, all the properties that we have defined are available here. The enthalpy is given by on y axis, entropy is given on x axis, the dryness fraction by dotted lines, constant pressure and constant temperature lines have been plotted. So, all the properties of steam are available on the Mollier chart, and on this Mollier diagram we can plot any point and get all the properties instantaneously by reading various ordinates and various other values. We can use the steam tables and Mollier chart for calculation, and a simple example has been given here. Say we have to determine the enthalpy of steam at a pressure of 58 bars and 470 degrees centigrade. So, we go to steam table that is 6, and in steam table 6 we go to the columns and rows of 55 and 60, because 58 bars would lie somewhere between 55 and 60, pressures of 55 and 60. So, we go to that particular row where pressure is 55 bars and 60 bars. Next column is the we read the temperatures, enthalpy and so on, and we have to find out the value at 470 degrees centigrade. So, we go to the columns 450 and 500. Let me go back to table 6. Here is the table 6. So, this is the temperature 450 degrees centigrade and 500 degrees centigrade. This is the pressure 2.2 and 2.4. So, 55 and 60 bars we read here, 450 and 500 temperatures we read here, and read these values and mark here. Here 450 degrees the enthalpy is given here, 500 degrees the enthalpy is given here, 60 bars the enthalpy is this, and 55 bars the enthalpy is this. And by interpolating these two values we get the enthalpy at 55 bars at 470 degrees. This is the enthalpy 3309 as shown here. The enthalpy here is 3428 3428 has been marked here. So, enthalpy as 470 degrees centigrade would lie between this enthalpy and this enthalpy. We assume a straight line law between these two, and we plot a curve so that at 470 degrees the enthalpy can be read here, and this enthalpy at 470 degrees at 55 megapascals is given by 3356.6. Similarly, at 60 bars the enthalpy at these 2 points can be read, and it can be interpolated as 33 at 470 it has been calculated as 3356, and at 60 bars it has been calculated as 3349.96 as shown here. We can interpolate at 55 bars and we can interpolate at 60 bars, and once we interpolate it at 55 and 60, again interpolation of these two values can be done, and at 58 bars we can calculate. At 55 bars the enthalpy is given by this, at 60 bars enthalpy has been calculated as this, and therefore, at 58 bars the enthalpy would be given by this, and therefore, we can calculate the enthalpy of steam at 58 bars and 470 degrees as 3352.616. So, this is how we can calculate, we can use these steam tables to calculate the properties of steam here. The same calculations can be saved by making use of the Mollier chart. Let us take a Mollier chart where enthalpy and entropy is given. The Mollier chart consists of a constant pressure line of 60 bars and a constant pressure line of 55 bars, right, and there is a temperature line 450 degrees centigrade and 500 degrees centigrade. These lines are available on the Mollier chart. Now, we have to calculate the enthalpy at 58 bars. So, let us draw a line of 58 bars between 55 and 60 bars as shown by the dotted line here. Again, the temperature of 470 is not available in the Mollier chart, but 450 and 500 temperature lines are available. So, we can plot a temperature line which is in between 450 and 500 degrees centigrade, which would represent a value of 470 degrees centigrade. So, this 470 and 58 bar lines, they intersect at this particular point, and at this particular point we can read the enthalpy here, we can read the entropy here, and this particular point will give us the various all the properties that are required for computation or for analyzing a particular problem. So, this is how a Mollier chart can be made use of to calculate the various properties of steam, superheated steam, and similarly properties of wet steam or saturated steam can be computed as it has been illustrated for superheated steam. The method of use is the same, method of calculation is the same, the technique of using the steam the chart is the same. Say we want to calculate this for wet steam, then at 60 degrees bar, this is the line in the wet region, this is the constant pressure line in the for 55 bars in the wet region, and at 58 bar the properties would be given by somewhere here. If the dryness fraction is known, we can find out what is the property of steam in the wet region at 58 bars. This line would give us the properties at 58 bars and different temperatures, right. So, this is how we can make use of Mollier chart and steam table for computation of properties of steam. Now, this we can make use of analyzing the various thermodynamic processes that are used in power plants. The various thermodynamic processes that are used in various power plants are constant pressure lines, the isentropic lines, the throttling process, and the polytropic process. This steam undergoes a constant pressure process in a steam superheater in a boiler. Isentropic process we observe in the steam turbines. Throttling process is observed in all steam valves, and there are certain processes where polytropic process takes place. A process follows the polytropic law, and under the conditions or under the given conditions we can use these charts and the tables to analyze these problems of constant pressure, isentropic, throttling and polytropic. We will take them one by one. Say this is a constant pressure process application. Steam enters a particular pipeline at condition 1 and it leaves the line at condition 2. In this in the process, when the steam flows from 1 to 2, certain quantity of heat is supplied to the steam. When heat is supplied to this steam, the conditions of the steam would change from S1 to S2, enthalpy from H1 to H2 and temperature from T1 to T2. So, now we want to calculate if this given quantity of heat is supplied, what will be the condition, what will be the value of temperature, entropy and enthalpy at outlet to the application. Say this is the initial condition of the steam having enthalpy H1, temperature T1 and entropy S1, and when it follows the constant pressure line, this is the constant pressure line on T S diagram, it moves in the wet region horizontally and in the superheated region along the constant entropy line. So, this is constant pressure process. So, constant pressure line, it will move horizontally and then a constant pressure line will be followed in the superheated region, and the change in entropy would be given on the x axis, change in temperature would be given in y axis, and on Mollier chart we can mark this point 1 at a given dryness fraction and pressure. This is the pressure P1 and given dryness fraction, we can mark the point 1. At point 1, it is having a dryness fraction x1 and pressure P1 and temperature T1, enthalpy H1. Certain quantity of heat is supplied here, and at outlet the pressure is again P1 because it is a constant pressure, temperature becomes T2 and enthalpy becomes H2. Now, when heat is supplied to wet steam, it will become dry and saturated first. It will follow a horizontal line from 1 to A, and A to 2 the steam moves at a constant pressure line and it gets superheated, and this from this we can calculate what is the total change in the properties of the steam, and this can also be represented on HS diagram, the Mollier chart. This is pressure P, this is pressure P, constant pressure line. This is the dryness fraction x1, and condition of the steam at point 1 can be represented by this particular point, and when it moves and it goes up to a temperature T2, the entropy would be given by this and enthalpy by this. This is H1, this is H2. So, total heat supplied would be equal to H2 minus H1, change in entropy S2 minus S1, that is the change in entropy can be read here, change in enthalpy can be read here, and that gives us the total amount of heat required to be supplied to the steam to make it superheated up to this particular temperature, right. So, this is how we can make use of Mollier chart for calculating the properties of steam under constant pressure conditions. Then the next process is constant entropy process, and in constant entropy process entropy of the steam remains constant. It is a constant entropy process, no heat can be supplied, no heat can be rejected, and as such the constant entropy process on TS diagram would be represented by a vertical line. If it moves at constant entropy, this is the initial condition and this is the final condition. The properties of here can be read, properties at this particular point can be read. This will be the dryness fraction at the end of the expansion process when it flows through the steam turbine. Here the pressure was P1 at inlet, pressure at outlet is P2. Initially it was superheated. When it flows through the turbine, the process is a constant entropy process, and therefore it would be a vertical line. This is entropy line, this is enthalpy line. Okay. And the heat transfer during a constant enthalpy process, isentropic process would be 0, and the work done would be equal to the change in enthalpy here H1 minus H2. This is the total work that can be obtained in a steam turbine when steam expands isentropically in the steam turbine. Final dryness fraction would be read here. The steam would be wet at this point, whereas it was superheated at this particular point. So, this is how we can calculate the properties of steam when the steam expands isentropically in a steam turbine. Then throttling process is a constant enthalpy process, and constant enthalpy process can be plotted in the same way on the Mollier chart. Constant entropy process would be a vertical line, whereas constant enthalpy process would be a horizontal line. Throttling takes place, and when throttling takes place on the Mollier chart HS diagram, this is the initial condition of the steam. When it throttles, it moves horizontally at constant enthalpy from point 1 to point 2, and the enthalpy remains constant, H2 is equal to H1, whereas the entropy at point 2 is this, entropy at point 1 is this. So, change in entropy would be equal to S2 minus S1. This is the irreversibility, no work is being done, no heat is transferred, work done is equal to 0, heat transfer is also equal to 0, and the change in entropy during a throttling process would be given by that can be read on x axis by S2 minus S1. Thank you. And these calculations or these charts can be used for analyzing all problems relating to steam in steam boilers, in steam turbines, various processes that are involved in textile or paper or other chemical industries. All the calculations can be made using these steam tables and Mollier charts, as I have explained right now. Thank you.